DDR5 RAM for me was the most challenging component to source at the time of my build, which is mid-February 2022. It was one of the few items that I couldn't procure with the majority of other PC components. After much hunting, I selected the G.Skill DDR5 RAM. It came in two options, a RGB and a non-RGB. I wasn't particularly interested in the RGB version, however, it was $100 cheaper than the non-RGB version, so in this occasion, price won for this selection. Key specs for the RAM were its DDR5 RAM, its frequency is 6000 megahertz, its timing of 36, 36, 76, and it is non-ECC RAM. The interesting point that I found when hunting for RAM was the RAM that I found with the lower timing values was slightly cheaper than the RAM with higher timing values. Now, lower timing values for RAM, in my understanding, is better. It had me confused when purchasing, so I looked deeper to see if there were any other component specs that might be influencing the price. But I couldn't find any, so that will remain a mystery to me. Computer RGB bling is not really for me, so we will see if this RGB RAM plays with my OCD and I can live with this life choice. You will know if you see me advertising cheap DDR5 RAM in a few weeks. So stay tuned, someone might get a bargain. As a side note, a few forums have noted that using XMP 3.0 settings with the Intel 12900K has caused instability and boot issues, including the dreaded blue screen of death. It is something we are aware of and need to watch for BIOS updates for the motherboard and further understanding of the cause, particularly with our intentions to reduce instability via overclocking. I did look long and hard into modern PC case designs and different functionalities. The current range of Leon Lee case designs are, in my opinion, a well thought out product line and offer plenty of flexibility. My second choice case, which was my original number one choice when I was still planning on doing an air-cooled build, was the Leon Lee LAN-Cool Mesh 2. After wrestling with my choice of CPU cooling selection, the Leon Lee O11 Dynamic Evo finally got the nod. Apart from the fact the O11 Dynamic is specifically designed with water cooling in mind, the option to do an inverted motherboard build to allow me to position the case on my left-hand side was a major consideration. My only concern with the Evo is it is a mid-tower, not an XL case, so I'm wondering if an XL case would have offered more space and better cooling. I did take up the option to get the top USB hub and an extra hub, although the motherboard only has the one USB-C header, so I will only gain extra USB-A ports and not extra USB-C ports. I'm looking forward to getting this case out of the box and having a good look at this case with its multi-build options, as it has plenty of flexibility. With the Asus ROG Maximus Extreme motherboard having so many options for storage devices, it became quite a challenge to find a sweet spot for storage. My main consideration with storage, from what we have found more recently when using SharePoint and the Autodesk Construction Cloud services, is the capacity to store locally cached files. This, plus the ever-increasing capacity to store software application program files, particularly with having to install and maintain a minimum of 3 years worth of the AEC collections, it takes up quite a bit of space. I haven't resolved all my long-term storage solutions or have a strategy for storing video editing and rendering files like today's video, as they are considerably larger files than our CAD files, with the exception maybe of point cloud data. For my operating system and cache cloud storage files, I plan to use two Samsung 2TB 980 Pro NVMe M.2 SSDs paired in the ASUS DIMM.2 module slot and run in a RAID 0. This will give me 4 terabytes of capacity with super fast read and write speeds. I may consider installing a PCIe 5 SSD when they are released later in the year. However, that will affect my other PCIe slots due to how ASUS have engineered the PCIe lanes and the bifurcation arrangement. I will have an additional Samsung 4TB 2.5 scratch drive for extra storage space, which normally gets filled up with junk files and backup files. Based on some basic calculations we did, I reached a power consumption of just over 600 watts. So I decided to go with a 1000 watt power supply unit to give me some redundancy for future components or to use in another build down the track, as the PSUs are fairly universal components. To assist with our testing, I've also purchased a power usage meter to monitor the power at the wall against the values shown in the hardware resource monitoring software as a bit of a secondary audit. Thanks for watching the video, and be sure to check out our other videos on the channel. Also, click the like and the subscribe buttons below. Leave us a comment if you have any questions about Advanced Steel, or if there are specific topics you would like us to cover. And remember, if your job's worth doing, it's worth doing right.